A Study in Scarlet. Part 1. Chapter 2. After deciding to take the lodgings at 221B Baker Street together, Watson moved his belongings from the hotel, and Sherlock Holmes joined him the following day. They quickly settled into a comfortable routine. Holmes was an agreeable companion with quiet, regular habits, although he sometimes spent days hardly moving or speaking, sunk into some torpid state. Watson wondered if Holmes used drugs during these periods, but his new friend's general temperance and cleanliness argued against it. Driven by curiosity, Watson tried to unravel the mystery of Holmes's life and work. The man's striking appearance, with his tall, thin frame, piercing eyes, hawk-like nose and strong chin, suggested both intellectual keenness and determined character. Holmes's hands bore the signs of chemical experiments, and he displayed an extraordinary delicacy of touch when manipulating scientific instruments. Without many friends himself, Watson hoped to learn more about his enigmatic flatmate. Holmes was clearly not a doctor or a formal student of science, although his knowledge in certain areas was both vast and precise. However, Holmes professed total ignorance of literature, philosophy, politics, and astronomy, considering any information that did not help his work to be useless clutter in his brain, which he endeavored to forget. If the Earth orbited the Moon, Holmes declared, it would make no difference to him. Watson jotted down an assessment of Holmes's knowledge and abilities, covering everything from his expertise in chemistry and anatomy to his skill in martial arts and playing the violin. The list demonstrated Holmes's eccentric but focused intellect. His musical talents were as peculiar as his other qualities. Though an accomplished violinist, Holmes preferred to scrape away discordantly on his instrument while lost in thought. Actual pieces were rare. Though initially friendless, Holmes soon revealed he had many acquaintances from all social strata who visited their rooms. These included a sallow-faced man named Lestrade, who came frequently on business. When clients called, Holmes would ask Watson for privacy to conduct interviews. Watson's curiosity finally got the better of his restraint, and he asked Holmes directly about his profession. As Watson anticipated, Holmes described himself as the world's only consulting detective. When other detectives from the official police force or private agencies were stymied, they brought their evidence to Holmes, who used his extensive knowledge of crime and his powers of deduction to put them on the right track. He could often solve mysteries without leaving his room. Holmes directed Watson's attention to an article he himself had authored on the science of deduction. In it, Holmes asserted that a trained observer could determine a man's history and occupation from the smallest clues in dress and appearance. The average person would consider such inferences fanciful, but to Holmes they were practical tools he relied upon for his livelihood. Watson scoffed at the article, prompting Holmes to reveal that his train of thought about Watson's time in Afghanistan, which so amazed the doctor when they first met, was achieved through a series of such rapid deductions. Holmes was disappointed, however, that most modern criminals displayed very little talent, making his own gifts hardly necessary. Just then the appearance of a retired sergeant of Marines at their door with a letter for Holmes promised a more engaging case was at hand.